Welcome to Movement Monday. Um, Tonight, if you came to be here for part two of the Russell Bishop Sanctuary series, probably has a name that I'm not aware of, then you're in the right place. And we're just going to ask you all to a couple things. You can go ahead and mute and I'm sure there'll be an opportunity at some point for questions and things, but we'll have you mute, and some folks are joining as we go. It's wonderful to see folks literally from all over the world. Somebody's got an iPhone with an 85 country code, which I just looked up, and it sounds like it's Guam. So if you're here from Guam, welcome. If not, your phone is here. Did we put in, we're about to, but as I said, this is a part two of a three-part series that Reverend Dr. Bishop has, or Bishop, Reverend Dr. Bishop, I suppose, has offered to do with us. And we're going to give you a link to part one, because we recorded that just like we're recording tonight, and this will also be available. And this is all based on the generosity of Russell. And so don't feel like you're jumping in the middle if you weren't with us. So folks are kind of coming in, and as they do, we're just going to say that we're glad to have you. And Russell, folks are pretty used to calling in the light and all that stuff, so I'm going to hand it over to you and let you take this from here.
Very good. And just in the case there's someone here who's not familiar with that, a way of focusing ourselves into what I like to say is answering the call from Spirit, bringing forward anything that's for our highest good. And we like to use the metaphor of light. It's illuminating, and you can find light references in just about every spiritual teaching in the world. And so I'll just do it the way I'm accustomed to. So if you just let yourself become aware of your presence, your body, where you're sitting or lying, how you're being supported in this physical world, and focus your breath right now. Just notice the breath in. And with the breath out, just let go of any concerns you may be carrying from the day. And breathe in the light. Might be a beautiful white golden light that fills, surrounds, and protects you. And breathing out again, any disturbance, any concerns, or anything that is in the way. And so, Father, Mother God, we welcome ourselves again into your love, light, and sound, asking to be filled, surrounded, protected by the light of the Christ and the Holy Spirit. We ask for the traveler and the preceptor to guide us in our time together, bringing forward only that which is for our highest good, and taking from us any karma, negativity, or imbalance that we can release, restoring us to your grace, peace, and love. And anything that is brought forward, we ask that it be done so in ways that we can understand, with the strength and the courage to act on it. And for this opportunity to be in divine fellowship with one another, in the presence of the divine, we truly do give our thanks, knowing the blessings already are. Berush Beshan. And for those who may not be familiar, we often like to do a little chant. We pronounce it Anai Hu. Hu is an old name of God found in many different parts of the world, from the Sufis to various Hindu traditions. That's a way of calling on the Supreme God. And the Anai part just asks to be in a one-ment, compassion, alignment. And so we'll chant three of those. Anai Hu. Anai Hu. Anai Hu. Well, thank you, everyone. Again, my name is Russell Bishop, and it's a distinct pleasure to be able to share this time together with you this evening, wherever you might be, or if you're far enough on the other side of the world, in the early morning. The focus of the day is what we call the inner sanctuary. Sometimes we call it the sacred sanctuary. Sanctuary is a beautiful term. It can imply both a place of peace and rest, as well as a place of spiritual unfoldment and spiritual awareness. And so if you're new to this, we do have that recording Steve mentioned a bit ago, which will be sent out, and you can follow along the process of what we call constructing your sanctuary. Now, the sanctuary is an inner place, meaning when we close our eyes, we can go inside and use our creative imagination to craft this place of sanctuary, this place of peace. And in today's instance, this place of healing. When we go more deeply within, part of the whole process is that we can access deeper levels of awareness, deeper levels of awakening, and in the process, perhaps tap into higher energies that can be useful in the living of our lives to the most full and bringing forward whatever serves ourselves and the highest good of all concerned. So in the sanctuary, just very briefly, we like to think of it as a place you can imagine constructing. It could be a place by the seashore, in a meadow, by a babbling brook. Some people put it in space, on clouds and other kinds of places. So the limitation is there are none. And you can construct yours out of known materials like wood and stone, or you can create it out of energy fields and light bubbles. There's no restriction there. And inside this facility, we like to have a place where we can do meditation. We like to have a place where we can do education and learning, accessing information. And we like to have a place in there, which we'll focus on today, where we can focus on health, well-being, and inner levels of healing. And then lastly, there's also a way that we can invite others to visit in our sanctuary. They come in only on our invitation, and we'll address that a little bit more. We often like to think of this as one where we invite an inner master. It could be a master guide, master teacher, spiritual teacher, an angelic form. We're not restricted in any way here. We just like to use the generic term inner master. And the being of the spirit that is most relevant and important to you is the one that will most likely come to you. So as we go through here, I'm going to give you a little information about what we'll do today. We'll have a little bit of opportunity if you've got some questions before we go into a meditation. Then there'll be a guided meditation where I'll take us back into the sanctuary and we'll explore today's theme of health and well-being. After we're done with that, we'll give you a moment to just absorb whatever took place. And then if you have more questions or anything you want to share, we'll have opportunities for that as well. So let me start saying tonight's focus is going to be on health and well-being. I am not a medical doctor, so please do not misconstrue anything here as medical advice. What this is inner guidance, asking for whatever is for your own highest good to come forward in ways that you can use. Some of this may be energetic in nature. I'll show you a way I've used to help identify what a source of well, I'll just call it a discomfort. It could be anything from a headache to an illness, to asking myself, where does this come from? What's it serving me for? What do I need to learn in this instance? We'll also give you a way of sort of identifying potential areas of concern within your body, some of which you may be able to resolve simply by going through some of this inquiry process, and others that you may want to take over to a medical professional for their guidance. So again, this is more about spiritual energies. And again, I'm a doctor of spiritual science, not a doctor of medical science. So I like to keep that clear and present. So before we start, does anyone have any questions or any observations from last time around? Anything you want to ask or share? And if so, you'll notice that down at the bottom of your screen, there's a little button that says reactions. And if you click on it, at the very bottom of that, you'll see a little yellow hand and the words raise hand. If you want to share something, just click on that, as I'm going to do right now. And you'll see that next to my picture, a little yellow hand went up. So that's how we can share. And I see that Carol Starr would like to share. So please unmute yourself and hello, Carol.
Hi, Russell. Hi, everybody. I had this question. I listened to the link. Thanks for sending it out. And I had this question about whether it's like good to stay in the sanctuary when I go to sleep at night, all day. How long can we stay in it? I mean, there's no right or wrong answer, but I just wondered if you had a comment about that. And one other note, last night I stayed in it, and this morning I woke up and I forgot whether I was in it or not. You know, I couldn't remember. And then all of a sudden it was like, I don't know if I'm in it or not.
Well, it's an interesting question for sure. I know I have used it in the past. I've gone to sleep in it intentionally. I've gotten up in the morning and put myself in it and say, I want to stay in here as much as I can throughout the day. Doesn't mean that I necessarily maintain awareness of that, but I can bring myself back into it. So I mean, there's lots of ways to imagine what this is. I'm sure you're familiar if I said heart-centered living. The sanctuary is another metaphor for the heart, which is a metaphor for who we truly are. And so going into the sanctuary and asking to stay with it, asking for your inner guide to be with you. These are all very useful things in consciousness. Now, that doesn't mean that I stay mentally, consciously aware of it, but it is working at other levels, which may help me access greater guidance as I go through the day. So that's what I found.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Anyone else? Okie doke. So again, today's focus, we want to have on health and well-being. Now, health can mean physical health. It could be mental health. It could be energetic health. It could mean a lot of different things. So we'll let you choose some areas of focus as we go through the process. Well-being also is a very individual and subjective question. What does it mean to live in a state of well-being? So part of what we'll do is we'll return to the sanctuary. We'll have a little background music to help us stay there. I encourage you to do this process in a way that you can stay alert and awake. It is quite possible that as we travel with this, some part of us just takes off. And if you do, that's okay too, which is one of the reasons we're recording and sending it back out. In your sanctuary, I'm going to suggest that you have a health and well-being center. Some people call it a health and healing center. And there's several ways that this can be used. Now, one of the things I like to do in my sanctuary is I have a, what to call it, sort of a light awareness tool, sort of light diagnostic tool. If you're familiar with CAT scans, you know, that's where you would lay down and go into this device that sends slices of energy through your body, and it can image what's going on in different parts of the body, organs and different layers and so on and so forth. I like to imagine that I've got a vertical vision of something like that. But what it does is it sends slices of light down through me. And if there's an area of disturbance, an area of imbalance, an area of concern, that light will tend to stop there Sometimes it even changes colors. And all it's doing is bringing me into awareness that there's an area there that I might want to pay some kind of attention to. And when it does stop, we then usually ask, so what is being revealed here? What's the source of this sort of stoppage? Is it a blockage? Is it an opening? I mean, it could be all kinds of things, but the point is the light stopped there for some reason. And I'm going to ask, so what's that for? What do you want me to know? Is there something for me to know? Or is it just an area to give more conscious focus to? It could be an area where you're carrying, let's say, stress, and you weren't even aware of it. So it could, if stress is revealed, what am I stressing about? What could I do to relieve that? So again, we'll just let the light slice through and stop if that's what is indicated. Ask what's more useful to do here, something to be aware of, or actually something to do. It could be something to do in the physical world. You know, I've had people stop at an area and go, I don't know what that is, and just schedule an appointment with an MD, and they found something that was unexpected. So any manner of things could happen here. There are ways to use this sanctuary, and we'll touch on it, where if you have someone who you care about and they're dealing with an issue. I have a friend right now who's in Bangkok, Thailand, and he's dealing with an aggressive form of cancer. So I go to my sanctuary, I just imagine him in there, and all I do is just send him light. I'm not trying to cure him or fix him, but I just want to have the light go to him, because the light, the spirit, knows what's best. And it's not my job to fix anything, but it could be an amplifier of light for him to use in his own awareness process, if not healing. So there are ways we can do that. There are more advanced things that can be done here, but I won't go into that in this particular workshop. That's stuff I could do with you one-on-one if that were interesting. So again, just before we go with that little background, any questions or any areas you'd like to see focused on before we go? Alicia.
Alida.
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't even read.
That's okay. That's okay. I answered just about anything. I have a question. When I go into the sanctuary and I call forward the inner master,
Yep.
I've been finding, especially lately, it's not the same inner master. I've been getting a lot of different people show up.
And you're concerned about that?
It used to always just be one thing. In fact, I mean, sometimes I am, and sometimes, it'll be maybe JR or an angel, or just, it's just been all different things lately. And that's been unusual. So I just was wondering about that.
Sure, that's a great question. For those of you who know who John Roger is, JR is the abbreviation that he used to go by, a spiritual master in many ways. And John Roger, if you listen back to many of his tapes and read in discourses, he'll generally suggest that you invite the inner master to be present rather than a specific name. Now, you could name one, you could name John Roger, you could name Jesus or Buddha or whatever. But if you just ask for the inner master, that high spirit consciousness will present itself in the form most useful for you in the moment you're in. So whether it brings an angelic form, a spirit guide, I mean, a lot of things show up. It could be your next door neighbor, for that matter, because spirit can use any vehicle to communicate. So I would just welcome its presence. And if you're curious, you could always say, geez, any particular reason it was your form that showed up instead of another?
Yeah, I've just been surprised. It just, a couple of times it's just like, whoa, I just didn't expect whoever was there to show up. So it's been kind of cool. I never know who's going to show up each day.
Yeah. And is that, I take it by your expression, that's a positive surprise?
Yes, I would say ever since we did the workshop and they suggested doing the sanctuary in the morning and then in the evening, I've been doing that. So it's been fun, and I have a whole crowd that's been showing up. So it's been neat. Yes, it is.
Well, one of the ways to think about that is that, as you will know from the spiritual study you've done all these many years, we've got lessons to be learned, often called karma, but they really just means lessons at many different levels. So we've got mental lessons to learn and emotional lessons to learn and the unconscious and so on and so forth. And within each of those, there's all kinds of permutations and subsections and whatever. And a particular master might show up because it's more acutely aligned to that area that you're dealing with right now in that karmic
Okay.
unfoldment. It's not necessary usually to understand what that is. In fact, questing for understanding can sometimes get in the way. So I would sometimes ask, is it for my highest good to know what it is that you're here for? And let the dialogue unfold. But
Yeah.
that would be more like for information as opposed to, well, I don't really understand. How does that work? Because as soon as we go in there, we go into the mental part, and that tends to bog things down, as opposed to going to the spiritual part, which unfolds and enlivens.
Yeah, and I said I've been open to it, and I've been I will just ask, what message does it have for me? So I'll either get a message right away or I'll get a message when I'm up on the screen. But it's kind of cool. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Alita.
Thanks.
Anyone else? By the way, there's no question too small or too big. Too small, maybe pretty easy. Too big, I may not be able to answer it either, but anything's fine. Okay, so I'm going to bring in a little background music. Whoa, Graham.
Hey, Russell. This is great. I love this. I was wondering, I know may not be healing necessarily, but if you're looking for clarity on something, like what kind of approaches would you take, do you think, in the inner sanctuary?
Can you give me a clue, clarity about what?
Well, I mean, I'm sort of like, it's a place I have, and I'm kind of like trying to gain clarity whether if I want to keep this place or not, so it's sort of like we're talking a home basically.
Yeah. Mhm.
And yeah.
So I think we talked about that once a little bit.
Yeah.
And you might want to do that again sometime, but one of the things you might consider is imagining different scenarios. JR has a seminar he called Soul Realm Mock-Up. And what he was saying is, well, we may or may not know what the soul realm is. And we say we want to go there. Well, why don't we just mock it up in our head and see what happens? Well, you can use the same principle when you have choices in front of you. You could say, okay, let me imagine selling it. And then what would I see unfolding? And would that be an opening, or would that be a constriction for me? Would it provide an opportunity that I will like, or provide an opportunity that I'll regret? And pick another option. Maybe it's remodel it, or maybe it's, I don't know, buy another one. I mean, whatever, but just imagine different options. And then you can put those on the screen where you imagine it working out one way or another. And that's sometimes a great place to invite the inner master and just say, hey, take a look at this movie with me. Would you add anything, subtract anything? Would you make any changes or corrections? That way, now when it's a decision time, I have a little coin here that was an MSIA coin. It says MSIA on one side and it says loving on the other. And this is a great decision tool. Because if it were say buy, sell, I say, okay, once I'll saw a sign, buy to the MSI side and sell to the Loving side, and then flip the coin.
hmm
And what, have you ever done that?
I think I have, and then like the reaction to it, basically.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, is that a good, am I excited about the result that I got from the coin or not, kind of thing.
So any of you ever flip a coin and feel okay about what it said? Yeah. If you ever flipped a coin and went, I don't know, how about 2 out of 3? And I mean, Jared and I used to talk about that all the time. It's a great decision clarifier, because if
Mhm.
it comes up one way or the other and you're okay with it, well, then you're okay with it. But if some part of you wants something else, it'll probably say 2 out of 3. I know I've gone 2 out of 3. Okay, 3 out of 5. Okay, 5 out of 7. And it's pretty clear, some part of me is resisting the obvious answer. So
Mhm, mhm.
there's a lot of ways to trick ourselves into awareness.
Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you, Russell. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And remember, anything that works, works.
Mhm, mhm.
Thanks, Graham.
Thank you, Russell.
Anybody else? Okie doke. I'm going to do just a little level check with you. I'm going to play a little background music, and I'll be playing background music as we go through this little meditation. I just want to make sure that the level sounds okay to you. So I will start it. And so you can hear the music. And how is the music level compared to my voice level? Does it work for you? Yeah, mostly thumbs up. Super. Okay, so I'm going to turn my camera off so I'm not a distraction to me or to you. And again, sitting comfortably. Letting yourself rest ever more deeply into your chair. Feel it supporting you. Noticing your breath as you breathe in and you breathe out. And with the next breath in, imagine you're breathing right through your heart. And as you breathe out, let go of anything that may no longer be serving you. Breathing in again through your heart. Just focus on spirit or God or the beloved. And with the next breath in, if you have a frame of reference for spirit or God, it could be John Roger or the word Hugh or God. Just breathe that name as you breathe in. Let it fill you. And breathe out using the same name. Along with it, let it take anything you no longer need. And with the next breath in, let yourself relax even more deeply. And find yourself moving toward the area where your sanctuary resides. And again, it could be on a mountaintop, at a seashore, in a meadow by a stream, even in space on a cloud. And I'll give you a moment to just reattune to your sanctuary, where it's located before we enter. And if you notice anything about its surroundings that seems like it wants to change, you can go ahead right now and simply allow that change to take place. For me, I'm noticing a garden that's coming up new and fresh. Lovely flowers. And rich green hues. Now find yourself at the entryway to your sanctuary, finding yourself that this entryway opens to you and you alone. And so now, if it's a key that you use, if it's reading your face, or iris pattern, or fingerprints, or whatever it is, maybe just recognizes your frequency and your body energetic. Let yourself now enter your sanctuary. And as you do, you are filled, surrounded, and protected by this light, this beautiful light, a warm, white, perhaps even golden light filling you, surrounding you, and protecting you. And as you walk into your sanctuary now, look around and notice what you see. Remember, there's a room in there for your relaxation and meditation. Does it want any attention right now? It may be just fine the way it is, and some part of you may want something else there. And if so, just take a moment and allow it to come into being. And now look towards that area where you have that movie screen or computer screen or TV screen, whatever kind of screen it is. That information center could be attached to the most amazing computer or the world's largest library of books. But this is your information center, as well as your visualization center. And does this area want any attention? Does it have additional resources? Is there anything about the screen that might change? Or how it accesses knowledge and information? And now let your attention move to the place where you can invite others to join you. We sometimes call it a people mover, something perhaps like a materialization chamber. Just notice how it is, where it is, if anything about it wants to change. And now direct yourself to the Center for Health and Well-being. You may already have this center, already existing in your sanctuary. If not, you can use your creative imagination to bring it into presence. Whatever it is, just notice there's a profound sense of peace and well-being in this center. And notice that it has an ability in here to bring a conscious awareness to you of anything you might need to bring in greater awareness of your own health and well-being. And now, as you look more carefully around, notice that there's an area that is filled with lights of different colors and different frequencies. These are lights that can be used when you need something in particular. So, for example, if there were a time when you were feeling perhaps fatigued or slightly weakened, there's a red light, and the red light brings with it a sense of strength, and forms of confidence. There were times when you were perhaps emotionally disturbed or concerned, the orange light might be useful to bring in that level of stability and balance. And each of these lights brings a quality of enrichment along with balance. And so if you were in a state of mental confusion, uncertainty, you might ask for the yellow light to come in and bring clarity, stability, and balance. The green light is one often associated with peace. So if there were a part of you that were disturbed, out of balance, you might need both the orange light for emotional stability and the green light for just peace. It's also a color associated with healing. And the blue light, when we feel a need for greater loving, both our own inner experience of loving and that ability to share the loving with others. If that's the case, you can simply ask for the blue light to come and fill you and surround you and protect you. And in those times when we might be questing spiritually, seeking to enter into the highest forms of spirit, the highest realms of spirit, the various forms of purple, the lighter lavender to the deeper purple may be quite useful, as it opens the avenue to our own soul with greater awareness. And in that, a connection to even higher awareness of spirit. And then there's the gold and then the white light. The white light, of course, incorporates all, but it's also clear. And if we know not what to ask for specifically, that white light is always a great choice, because it can bring any and all of the frequencies we most need. And so here's that bank of lights and the ability to bring color in whenever you need it. And now let's imagine that we have this column that we can stand in. Imagine a column that's clear right now. You can step inside of it, almost like it were a tube, but it's spacious You're quite comfortable standing in it. And now imagine that above your head as you're standing, there's a light ray generator that comes down slowly, and it's sending beams of white light across and through you, starting at the top of your head in the crown chakra. And it moves slowly and revealing anything that may be of interest, concern, or importance to you. So as it moves through your crown chakra, notice if it pauses for any reason. And if so, take note. And you may ask if there's a particular reason right now. And it could be anything. It could be asking you to awaken this area, to open this area. Or there could be some other area of concern with you. Whatever it is, just ask, and it will be revealed to you for your highest good. Only that which is for your highest good. And let that light scan come down through the area of the third eye, across the forehead and the temples, all the way through the brain. And just notice if that has a pause, a focus, if it even changes colors. Because sometimes that white light will change colors as it comes to an area. And that could be instructive. It may say, I need more that energetic here. Or it may be causing you to pause, ask what's happening in here. How might I need to awaken more fully? And let that light slicing beams move down through your eyes, your physical eyes. And is this light asking the eyes to open to another level of seeing? Could be at the physical level. Are there any distortions? It could be at the inner level, removing distortions, adjusting the precision of inner sight. Let the light continue down. It goes through your head and through the ears. Similar to the eyes, is there something here auditorily? Is there a greater clarity of hearing? Is it physical hearing? Or is it spiritual hearing? For in the Bible it said, let those with eyes see and those with ears hear. And similarly, in a moment, those with a tongue speak. And perhaps that meant not just physically, but with the inner levels. And so is there anything at the inner level that this light is directing you to right now? Is it changing color at all? Directing your awareness to anything in particular? And let the light continue down through your mouth and into the throat area. Sometimes people have a tough time speaking their own truth. And we all know the phrase, it gets stuck in my throat. If there's anything stuck there, the light will pause. It may turn color. But it's there to reveal to you something that you may need to bring into greater expression. Let the light continue down now the rest of your neck and your shoulders. Let it go right down through your arms, upper arms, lower arms, your hands and fingertips. Notice if the light is focusing in any area here. Shoulders sometimes bear weight. And sometimes it's a weight not to be borne, but to be released. And sometimes it's a way of saying, my burden is light. So if that's the case, if there's anything around the shoulders, the tension, a burden, let the light lift and reveal to you. And the arms and hands are used to both reach out, to both give and to receive. And so perhaps the light reflecting something here in your ability to reach out, to embrace, to give. And for many of us, the larger challenge is to receive. And again, let the light reveal to you that which is to be received, that which is to be given, and in equal measure, that you live in a state of balancing. And let the light continue down through your chest, including your bronchial tubes and your lungs. Is there anything there in the way you breathe and receive the breath of life? Sometimes this is also, how do we receive the holy breath? Our sources of inspiration. For inspiration originally came from the Latin, and it meant to be breathed by spirit. It may be in your physical lungs, but it may be in the spiritual lungs that you need to learn to breathe. And so, if so, just let the light reveal to you anything in this area. Let the light continue now. Comes through the chest area. It's the seat of strength and loving, flow, circulation. Someone is letting that flow in a new way. Let that light reveal to you that which is being asked, or perhaps offered. And again, if there's any changes in colors, just ask what is being revealed, what is being asked, or what is being suggested. And let the light now continue down through your torso, include the liver and the spleen and the kidneys and the bladder, stomach and the intestines, and just let it go through in layers. And if there's any area here that needs attention or awareness, notice that the light will pause. It may or may not change color. For some of you, there may be an issue you cannot stomach, or something that's hard to swallow, hard to digest. And whatever that might be, just let the light reveal to you that which it wants to bring forward to you, to enable you, to free you. as the light continues down through the internal organs, and if there's any awareness, any lesson, or it's focusing on an area that might need attention, attention physically, attention medically, attention energetically. And let the light continue to move down now through the reproductive organs, through the hips. Notice if there's any area here that the light pauses, maybe shifts the color. And in this reproductive area, it's also this area of creation, not just physically and sexually, but it's a spiritual center where the energy may move first as it rises to be used to create into the world. Just notice if there's anything here that's being brought to your awareness. And notice those hip joints. Those are instrumental joints in our abilities to move forward in life. Does the light have any information here for you? It may just be staying clear, or it may pause for a moment. Let the light continue down now through your thighs and into your knees. All important parts of your understanding. The parts of you that support you in your ability to move through life. Again, those hips and those knees and joints for moving, for understanding. And if the light brings forward anything here, it could be a change in color or just a pause as the light moves down. But just ask what is being revealed, if anything. Is there anything the light would have you notice or be aware of? Let the light continue down now through your calves, shins, ankles. And now we come to the feet. That most common connection to the earth, to being grounded, and one which we seldom notice. And so, is the light revealing anything in the lower legs, the ankles, or the feet? Again, all parts of your understanding and parts of your support. And now just see that light rising back up through you, one continuous flow, and coming back down over you in one continuous flow. And just let this white light flow up through you, to the top of your crown, back down around you, down to your feet, and just let that flow move for a moment, bringing balance, energetic harmony to all levels. And so now let yourself be aware of any information that's been brought forward right now. Any areas that may require additional light, focus, or even medical attention. And just imagine it all coming into a state of well-being. Now you can use the screen that we put in that other room. Or maybe it's part of the same room. but bring to mind an image of yourself living in a state of vitality, of health and well-being, in a perfected state for you, in a perfected state for your highest good. Not necessarily a state of perfection as the world might call it, but whatever state would be perfected, whatever state would be perfected for you. And just see your life unfolding in ways that bring you great joy, peace, and balance. And see people in your life reflecting that joy, that peace, and that balance to you. And imagine the state of feeling you would have, how you would hear yourself speak and others speaking to you. And how would you look in that state of perfected balance and well-being? And how would others comment? Sharing and rejoicing in your light and well-being. And now you might want to invite your inner master to be present. Given we're working with health and well-being, you might ask for a master of health and well-being. And if you have a state or a condition that asks for healing, imagine the master healer being present. In whatever form this master healer, master of health and well-being takes, invite that being in and shower that being with light, the pure white loving light. And now share with this being what has been revealed to you just now. And if you have any areas of focus or concern, you can share that. And if you received any guidance about what you might do about any or all of these areas, share that. And this master of health and well-being may have something specific to share with you, specific guidance, and if so, ask and receive. And if there's an area requiring some kind of change or shift, you can invite this master of health and well-being to assist you, both now with information and in the days ahead by being constantly present with you, to support you, to lift you, and restore you to grace and peace. And now you may find that this master healer has its own gift of light for you. And you can imagine this master healer creates arms and hands right now to run from the top of your head all around your body, all through your auric field, bringing light healing, and releasing anything from the aura, anything from your energetic that no longer serves, and replacing it with that perfectly balanced light. And again, taking from you any karma, negativity, or imbalance, releasing it into the light where it's dissolved. In its place, you are restored to the light and love of your own heart and well-being. Now you might wish to thank this inner master for being present. And send the master away with your own gift of light and gratitude. And now turning back to your health center again. And if you have someone you know who's in a medical situation, someone who is suffering, be physically, anyone who's tormented in any way, struggling with health issues, you can just imagine them here and see them filled, surrounded, and protected with this light, this white light. You might ask this friend if they want to come into your sanctuary. And if they do, invite them in. And ask them what light they would like to experience. Could be any color, all colors. Whatever they ask for, you graciously bestow it upon them, being them receiving it in a perfected state for who they are, what their needs are, leaving aside any of your own concerns and allowing the light to go where needed. And if that friend or person is not available to come in just now, you might still ask if there's a color of light they would like to receive. And you can imagine a beacon of light going out from your sanctuary to them, carried on that color frequency they asked for, touching to them in a way that's perfected. They can receive that which is available to them at their highest rate or their highest. And now, whether the person has come into your sanctuary or not, just thank them for letting you share with them. They have been in the sanctuary, again, fill them and surround them and protect them with that white light. Send them on their way with the grace and the peace and the love of who you truly are. And now here we are in the sanctuary with that health and healing center, having been graced by the inner master, the master healer, embraced by the light, embracing the light, receiving of the light, restoring the light, and sending the light to all in need. And notice in this moment, You are that perfected state of well-being. All is present. The loving presence, the loving grace. And again, just let the light wash over you. Watch as you breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in the light. Breathe out the light. And breathe it in again. And let it cleanse and restore. And breathe out, let it take anything you no longer need. And if you did find an area or areas where you wanted greater balance, a sense of healing or increased health, just remember that image on the screen of yourself expressing and experiencing full vitality and perfect health and well-being. And if you want, you can let that movie continue to run as it reprograms anything inside of you, anything that needs to open and receive of the blessings of light, love, and the divine. For indeed, these are your natural state. And so now you can prepare to leave your sanctuary, knowing you can return at any time. If you wish, you could stay. But know that this blessing of light, love, and profound support is always there for you whenever you choose to turn toward it. For indeed, we are blessed with this light. And so now find yourself stepping outside the sanctuary, again being filled, surrounded, protected with light, and returning here to this room and notice where you're sitting, reminding yourself in a room, a Zoom room filled with friends, fellow travelers of light. You might want to wiggle a hand or a foot or toes or fingers just to help you reconnect. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and find yourself back here. Take in a big breath and feel the blessing of air as it comes into you, as you receive it. Well, I don't know about you, but that was pretty powerful for me. Anyone have anything they want to share or Anything about your experience, a question, anything. Love to hear from you. Again, just that little yellow hand at the bottom. Linda Mogutz.
Russell, thank you. That was fabulous. That was fabulous for me. It was all about golden white. I think from the moment I walked into the sanctuary until you said open your eyes, it was everything was about golden white, and it's fabulous. Thank you.
Well, what a blessing, huh? Thank you, Linda. Kasim, welcome, my friend.
Yeah, thank you so much, Harrison. I really enjoyed the meditation. When I walk into the sanctuary and I allow the spirit master taking the light through all my body parts, it got to a point where I have like a form of illness in my body.
Mhm.
I was able to feel the light so intense in that area, getting more relaxed, see the nerves there, the veins, they're responding to the light as well. And it really bring healing to that aspect of my body. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'm glad that could be a help to you, Kasim. God bless you. Linda Joy.
Thank you so much, Russell. That was beautiful. It just really put me in such a nice, peaceful place. And it's just what I needed. I really appreciate it. And you and the carrier love that your voice rides on. It just is so sweet and nice. So I just wanted to thank you.
Well, my great blessing. Thank you so much. Well, I don't know if it's Kathleen or Danny Saffron, but it's a saffron.
Unmute, Danny
There you
Sapp. I'm glad that Kathleen mentioned this. I didn't know about this, and it was very powerful. I really felt the light really powerfully, Russell, and as I was laying down. And I remember back when I moved from Miami to live at Prana at the end of '77, people told me about Insight. So I got involved in that first one that you facilitated in January of '78. And I didn't know what I was getting involved with. And I got sick during the training, and it was really a trip for me, but I'm glad I did it. And the Insight 2 later that year with you and JR facilitating. But I really needed that refresher of the sanctuary today. So thanks for that. It was really great.
Well, thank you, Danny. It's probably one of the least utilized but continuously available tools we have, because we can put anything in there and raise consciousness and awareness. It's just a beautiful access point to spirit. Thank you, Danny. JV.
Hi, Russell. I just wanted to thank you because from the moment you started this meditation, I went into rewind with the music and your words from the Insight 1 I took with you in August of '79. And my heart just expanded in acknowledgement for myself and for my growth. And it all started then. And I got the chills as I'm saying this to you. And then, of course, the Insight 2 in October of '79, which was just changed my life forever. So I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, but there's probably not the right words to express it to you because my heart is just so full with gratitude. Love you.
Well, thank you, JV. What a blessing we are to one another.
Amen.
Doug. Unmute, please.
Hey, Russell,
There you go.
that was beautiful. And it reminded me, it took me back sort of almost in parallel to some of the inside trainings and some of the things that you've said that have stayed with me for 20, 30 years, you know, that kind of come up at a time, and I have an inside experience is what I call it. And tonight, what I felt was this, like having a palace and having an inner palace, so that, you know, I didn't have to do a lot of paperwork and sign leases and so on. And that it really was a temple and a palace, but also a practical place to go. And when there's, I think the most profound, when the light was coming through the upper to the lower, and the idea that if the color changed or something was different, that was an area to check out. And maybe that was something to get involved with as a precursor, so that something else doesn't happen down the road from neglect. And so just, it was great. And I feel like I've reconnected back with the first Insight One from 1979 and have now this palace of resources. So thank you so much.
Well, it's a beautiful image, the inner palace. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, it was great.
Thank you, Doug. God bless.
God bless.
Sylvia.
Hi, Russell. Thank you so much. I wanted to share that I did all these days since your first class till today, as you suggested, at least twice a day, this walking in for guidance, for healing, for resting, and give my day in the morning to the spirit, and then at night tell it how it had been and receive feedback. And it has been amazing, so beautiful. Conference was in the middle, even conference day,
Yeah.
and with ordinations and everything. And I did it there too. And it was beautiful, beautiful. And I'm very grateful that you brought this forward. I'm kind of confused. I don't actually pinpoint. I think I'm a little bit scared of my own ability to access the information center. And I cannot visualize it. So I'm going to work a little bit more on that. But what I did not get inside, I got it in YouTube. I've been so clear in researching things that my intuition was bringing. So I don't want to take so much time, but it has been a very rich experience that I could plan to continue. Thank you.
Thank you, my dear. God bless you.
Oh, thank you.
And looks like Wendy.
Hello, Russell. I'm
Oh.
from Kangaroo Island in Australia. And I'm another one who's going to be saying I began in 1979 with Insight One. And it's very curious to me that this is happening right now, doing the conference and having that insight energy again. And then somebody told me about you doing this, and I missed the first one, but got the recording. And I feel so connected back with all of that awakening that I did back at that time. And I must say, I forgot about the sanctuary. I really did. And to have you just say then, to reconnect with it, it's one of the tools that we were given. I'm very pleased to have reconnected back with this tool, and doing it just then with you was so powerful and so full of spirit and love and clarity. I'm very, very grateful to this gift. Thank you very much, Russell.
Well, thank you. And give my love to all. I haven't been to Oz in 20 years. I used to come a lot. I love being in Oz. Give my love to all those wonderful people.
I will.
And good day.
Good day. Good day.
Good night. I can bring it back, maybe. God bless you. Thank you.
God bless you.
Mavi?
Hi, Russell. I also just want to thank you with all my heart. I took Insight in 1984 in El Paso, and the experience was so fantastic and so uplifting that I wanted Insight for Mexico. I've been blessed with Insight all my life, and that was the golden door for MSIA. I really just want to thank you, and for all the Mexican people that received the benefit of Insight and still receiving the benefit of Insight. God bless you and thank you.
Well, thank you so much. And it's been a blessing. As you probably know, I paid to have my book translated into Spanish. So
I already have it.
It's a great gift that Spirit gave me to be able to write that. So, Dios te bendiga, mi amor.
Dios te bendiga a ti también.
Thank you. Thank you. Before we go too much further, I just put my website and my email in the chat. And if anybody wants to do a free one-to-one session with me on anything, it could be about the sanctuary, anything, you can either email me or just go to my website and you can sign right up there. It'll show you my calendar and availability, and you can book time. It'll show the time in your time zone. So that's pretty much available to you as well. And as I said last time, little unusual for me, but I just put another thing in the chat that if anybody wants to make contributions to help me support continuing to make this work available to people, I'm open to receive. So that's a breakout for me. So anyone else have anything they want to share, or any questions you want to ask? Anything? Alida.
I would love to donate. The only thing is I don't do PayPal. Can you give us an address if we just wanted to send you a check or money order?
Oh, okay.
That's for the old folks who don't do all that stuff. Oh, cool.
I'm putting it in there right now.
And then we'll come visit you too.
Well, that'd be fun.
You say that now.
What, you don't think I mean it?
No, I know. I will say I did a session with Russell and it was wonderful. It's a beautiful experience. So it was super.
Oh, there it is. I finally got it in correctly.
Perfect. Thanks, Russell.
Hey, thank you. Ms. Ellis.
Yes, sir. So what I'm hearing from everybody, and I'm experiencing too, is the sort of a full circle moment that a lot of us are having, because I was so excited thinking that I had neglected my sanctuary. And I really realized as I went in and I had the same, I haven't neglected it at all. It's been there. I've used it on levels that I didn't realize I was using it. And so I just am like giving myself permission to have more conscious awareness of that. Also, in terms of the beautiful healing work that this was tonight for me, I just want to say that today was a beautiful example of that for me, because I've been having a variety of medical issues and some pain and some things that were kind of inexplicable, hard to define, etc. So somebody was sending me down one path and I flipped the coin in my consciousness. And I was like, give me a minute on that one. I'll get back to you. So the coin flip image is a good one for me also. And I ended up deciding I was going to go see somebody else about something that was, maybe it was this, maybe it wasn't. And I go in and there are two medical students that come in to talk to me. And I describe what's going on with me. And the doctor comes in and he says, you're exactly right. It's exactly all of those things. He had some ideas that were different in healing, and I'm grateful for it. But what I wanted to tell you about was the reaction from the two medical students. After he walked out the door, they stopped and they looked at me and they said, how did you do that? How did you know what was going on? And so I guess I'm just saying that listening to myself in a different kind of way is helping me right now.
Yeah. Well, here's a very interesting anecdote that you can look up to see if it's true, because it is. Many of you will know who George Washington Carver was. For those of you who don't, post Civil War in the United States, he was a Black man, a freed slave, and he was a botanist, I believe it was, and a doctor of botany, PhD. Black people all over the South had been given 40 acres and a mule, and they needed to raise money, so they raised crops, but everybody was planting peanuts. And there were so many peanuts on the market that they were virtually worthless. So he was trying to figure out, well, what do we do with all these people who are now freed, but they're in trouble and they only got peanuts. So he literally, now imagine this is 1868, I think it was. He goes into a peanut field. He sits down in the dirt next to the peanuts, and he goes inside and he has a conversation with the peanuts. Just like what we were talking about in the sanctuary, although he didn't have a sanctuary. And he asked the peanuts, what else can we do with you? And the peanuts gave him over 100 ideas about how to use peanuts besides food. And what came out of it were ways to make cloth, paint, dyes, colors, fabrics of one kind or another. Literally, the peanuts told him 100 different things, and it transformed the economy for the emerging, now freed slaves. So don't forget, you can ask the peanuts.
Thank you. That's wonderful.
Yeah. One or two people mentioned something about sort of maybe unstable audio during that. Did any of you experience that as well? Couple of people. All right. Yeah, one of the things what happens when I do these, I'm in them. That's why I turn the video off, because I'm in it. And sometimes what happens is I may move back away, which is not so smart. But the other thing that I'm starting to learn is I may have to invest in a whole lot better equipment, shall we say. There are some higher levels to do this. So I'm going to see what I can do about all that. I thought I saw a hand up there a minute ago. That it could have been Doris, but it was an iPhone. Okay, well,
Yes, it was Doree. Thank you. It was a beautiful presentation. Good to see you again.
yep.
And lots of love and light to you. And I appreciate all you do. Thank you. And God bless you. And also, I just asked if this will be online again because I had a lot of signal interruption. So I would love to be able to hear it again. Thank you.
Yep, we will make the recording available. Take a couple of days, but it'll go back out as a YouTube video, and Janet will distribute it to all of you. I'll also put it up on Facebook pages and things like that. Super. Oh, is that Steve?
Steve, yeah. How are you, Russell? I want to share a couple of really quick things. One, I think this was cool. As we were first coming back in today, I got it's so interesting to me, the whole thing. But anyway, a new room appeared that I had never had before. And it was a room for creativity. I got that it was also manifestation. I didn't spend time there, but I'm going to go back. But that was kind of a new thing that appeared.
Absolutely.
And that was kind of like creation in a variety of ways. So that was interesting. I also wanted to mention when we did this, I guess it's about a month ago when we did the session 1, and I guess my consciousness needed to go right to healing, because that night afterwards, I had an episode of pain, and so I went into the sanctuary right then and there and did some work, and I found that it was, again, now I'll add some of the techniques from tonight, in terms of maybe the diagnostic, but in terms of getting some help and inviting someone, a master consciousness, to come in and kind of also using light as a form of healing, but also combining some of the other things that we have as tools. So going into the clearing aspect of it, and what's here for me to clear, what's here for me to learn. So it's also integrated, in the sense of that information that we could call that we could call frequencies, or we could call spirit, or we could call our consciousness opening to aspects of itself, such that while our conscious mind starts to break it apart to think about it, our true self has it all kind of in one place. Does that make sense, the way I'm saying it? I mean, that it's not that we break it apart to be able to think about it, but ultimately it doesn't. That's not really the way it is. It's really all connected. It's really all one. That was my experience of it.
Yeah.
And then I guess I don't know whether we did it here or we did it. You were so kind also to talk with us once before, and you talked about ideal scenes. And I have a little bit of a habit on, don't do it every year, but very often on my birthday, what I'll do is I'll update, kind of a 5-year, and I learned it kind of as, be there. So, be there on that date, June 29th, 2026, and looking at my world, just imagining my whole world and what's in it. And that's a way I sometimes do that ideal scene, and I look at all. And I just wanted to mention that how powerful it is. I don't even, Marisa pulled out one that we did in 2021. And again, because I've been around you for too long, mine all look like mind maps, because I still use mind map software. And so there's just a big mind map. And we're looking at this thing and looking at how much, without really, I don't know if I've pulled it out more than once or twice in the 2 years, to look at how much has been manifested just by having placed it out there really vividly. So anyway, I guess I wanted to say that, as everyone else has been saying, thank you for the tools because if I work them, they work. So I'm just grateful.
Absolutely. And it might be fun to do one of these on creating ideal scenes.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
so watch me. I'm reaching out to my right and I'm grabbing a folder. And the folder is labeled Ideal Scenes. And in here, I have pages of the current volumes of Ideal Scenes I'm working on. I've got another, I don't know, 60, 70 sitting in a computer file. And I keep that right here on my right-hand side. And now I'm grabbing my camera. And here I have a visual representation of those ideal scenes. And so why? Because keeping that stuff right near me, I stay connected to the energetic of it. But like you said, I read through some of these that I haven't read through and I go, oh my God, that happened. Oh yeah, that happened. Now I'm not even surprised anymore.
Yeah. I mean,
We just have to align with the energy and it allows the creation to come through.
so true, you know, and like we can combine those things. I mean, I hadn't thought about kind of like keeping my ideal scenes in my sanctuary, but like one of the things I have going, I thought of somebody, this wasn't my idea. I heard actually somebody else share something and experience, and I took it this way. I in my sanctuary, I took I don't know if this makes sense, but I basically set it up. I don't want to know whether I would call it a recording that's running in my sanctuary, but just to like have my, I know you've shared about having, you know, that little kicker along the bottom. I have one where I just have my, my tone running. I just have my, so that in my room, you know, inside my sanctuary, I mean, and it's like you said, I may not be conscious of it, but every once in a while, whether I'm in my sanctuary or whether I'm doing SEs, you know, I'll just check and it's still running. So, okay, you know, it's like that. Okay, 24/7, there's some part of me that's got the tone. So it's just, I know that it's, you know, I don't know whether, I don't know where I would have said this, but even if it's all an illusion, it's a super useful, fantastically effective one. So it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. That's beautiful. No, it all works. Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, and I did, by the way, I was listening. So yeah, okay, we'll talk to you about, let's do something on ideal scenes.
Perfect. Rinaldo, mi amigo.
Hi, Russell. Good to see you. Let me see, where do I go? You know, it's kind of interesting. I'm in the series. I was in the first one. I'm in the second one. I would like to say that I was what can I say? A very I was very faithful in listening to the recordings. That wasn't necessarily my experience. And I was a little hesitant to share today because I don't want to kind of keep supporting this narrative that, you know, I'm not really conscious about what's taking place. Yet at the same time, there's a part of me, the marketeer inside of me goes, man, this stuff is really good, man. This stuff is really powerful. So it's kind of an interesting dialogue I have inside of my head. And I think I mentioned to you that I told JR the same thing when a similar thing happened in something about visualizations or what have you. And JR did something. He just like, he told me 2 or 3 different things. And it was like, it was so instant, so quick that I went from wherever I was to where he took me. He says, well, in your case, you happen to have this ability to go very quickly to this end point. And so your mind gets kind of mixed up with when you hear this, the gradualness of it all, you get kind of lost with it. And so it's kind of a challenge. I don't think if he used the word challenge, but anyway, he just, whatever he did, it was, I don't know. So anyway, I start listening to you and I go someplace real deep, real far, or real, a very deep place. And then that's what I can say. If somebody says, well, how was that? I said, marvelous. And then at the same time I go, and I think God is playing hide and seek with me. He's like, okay, so I show you, I show up, but okay, but so anyway, but nonetheless, I wanted to share that I think what other people have also been saying about the value of this. In today's market, the word manifestation is such a powerful word. And we're in this tremendous transition from where we are, which is not like where we've been, and we're not quite there where we're going to go. And we're in this very time of huge flux, and people not knowing, hey, what's what. And in my mind, I go, this is like really powerful technology, a very powerful grounding tool for people to have we as human beings, we all want to have some sense of security and certainty and clarity. And this is that. So that's where I'm at, my dear beloved friend, Russell.
Thank you, Ronaldo. You are quite the blessing, have been since way back in 78. Before that, I just didn't know you before that.
Right. But here I am.
Thank you, sir. Stephen.
Russell, it's great to speak with you. Thank you. And have a chance to do that. I took Insight back in, I think it was 81, 82 with the crazy Insight one that circled through 3 different locations within one training. And then I was in for Insight 2 and 3, and I took 4A and just was addicted for like 3 years. And it really was life-changing. But something really interesting I realized only recently as we started to do this process with the sanctuary again is that I could not handle doing the sanctuary exercise back then. I think only recently do I have the patience and less self-judgment enough to be able to just be accepting of it and allow it to myself to be there and focus in it, which is really interesting. But I was wondering if you could speak to somehow how I could be even more open to being creative and open to what I create in my sanctuary and to what comes through, because I find that as much as I'm very spiritual and creative and flexible, I think sometimes there's this stiff sort of mentality structure that I don't know, it's just there, and I'm thinking, like overlaying my own agenda on top of what I think I want it to be experiencing on my screen in the sanctuary, and it's just being able to let go of that mental stiffness so that I can be creative and receptive. Could you say something about how I could help myself with that?
Yeah, let me say 2 things. First of all, I think there's a lot here. So you might want to schedule one of those free sessions with me, and I'll work with you on that.
Thank you.
But one of the things that you might do is you're obviously a paper and pencil kind of guy.
Well, everything electronic, but I like to take the notes.
Okay, either way, but create a self-dialogue like a script would read in a movie. So here's Stephen and Stephen's creative self as character 2, and maybe Stephen's blocker self as character 3. And so Stephen can write, I really want access to greater creativity. And then just go to the next character, whichever one it is, and let it write whatever it wants to say. And so it's kind of like in Insight One where we pulled the paint out and talked to it. What do you want me to know?
That's amazing, Russell. You know, I was trained as an actor, and a lot of my early life is as an actor and singer. And I've written scripts and done comedy and improv, and you know, even done some directing. So that's funny. What do you want me to know? Is that like my attitude to be receptive to each of the characters as they're talking?
Absolutely. Let the creativity tell you what it wants from you, what it would suggest, but also let the blocker.
All three, yes.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, I laugh too because this little gift that I got in my ordination about clarity, which has been there for prior to that. I remember doing an Insight One in the Sheraton Universal, and we had about 200 people in it. And one of the guys in there was an actor, tall, dark, handsome, classic cliche looking kind of guy. Not well known, but an actor. And he was stuck, and we kept going back and forth and going back and forth and going back and forth. And finally, I just said, you know, Fred, whatever his name was, you remind me of a Corvette. And he said, what do you mean? I says, well, you know, Corvettes, they're sleek, powerful, sexy, but they're made of plastic. And if you bump into one, it shatters. And he just shattered. He just burst into tears. He couldn't go on. He sat down. And on the break, he came up to me and he said, how did you know? And I said, know what? I collect Corvettes.
And you shatter.
But see, the thing is, this is something is like second nature to me now. These images or metaphors or languagings just pop in and I just say them. But that's available to all of us because it's just the spirit information. So all we have to do is, you know, in 1978, I went in for an eye surgery and Jared said, you know, you need the surgery now physically, but the reason is not physical. What do you mean? He said, well, for years, you've been struggling to see with your physical eyes things that you can only see with your spiritual eyes. And so he began showing me how to hear and how to see these inner messages because they're there for all of us. We just have to open to them.
Thank you. You know, intuitively, my spirit tells me that I have so much more that I could be seeing and available to, and I wonder why I don't usually, you know, and I do what I can and I share what I can and help people as I can. But you know, I know that there's so much more there, you know. So thank you. I will contact you for a consultation. Was
Cool.
that the two things you wanted to say?
Yeah, basically.
Thank you so much, Russell.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you. Bye.
And looks like, is that Danny again?
I just want to put in a plug for, I found out that Stephen has these free weekly singing karaoke nights, and he gives little coaching sessions at the end, and he's really wonderful. He's coached a lot of professional singers. And recently what came to me is to put on the ability suit for singing. And I think it's made a difference. So that's what I wanted to say. And I don't remember your email address if people want to get in touch with you, Stephen, offhand, but you could probably put it in the chat.
Thank you, Danny. Well, okay. As usual, we've gone a little over. So let me hand this back to our delightful hosts.
I think delightful is an exaggeration, but thank you. So if you like tonight, just mark your calendar for next Monday. Russell, do you want to say anything about next week?
Yeah, next week, we're going to go for a true self-attunement. So combination of inner master and accessing soul-guided awareness inwardly.
Wow.
Just on behalf of all of us, just to say thank you, Russell, for the generosity of spirit, for you creating this and working with us. And so again, please check the chat, everybody, because there's some stuff there for you in terms of if you feel moved to make any kind of contribution. That information is there. We'll share it with you again through our email. And then to say, as soon as we have it, as Russell mentioned, we recorded, so we will make it available as we have. And Janet, anything else you want to put in here?
Just absolute gratitude for the incredible work you're doing for us. Thank you, Russell, and this just gift, this time that is kind of priceless. And I'm really grateful to everybody that's here and that came and that wanted to be part of this, because we're all better and one in our loving. And so I appreciate your time and interest in coming and being supportive in this way. We do have Russell next week, the following week, which will be kind of a wonderful thing. Catherine Corona we just did something on healing. She's going to do an evening for us also on healing through soul. So that will be an interesting thing to have come after this. And there are things every Monday night. We keep it going. Mel Alhante is going to make a rare solo appearance on August 7th. So we have corralled Melva. So all of you put that on your calendars right now. And love to all of you.
Yeah, and just want to discuss, folks who are here, just want to thank Hillary Levy and Katz, who is our, when you get an email from the Movement Mondays Gmail address, you're getting it from Hillary, and she keeps us straight and she keeps us on the narrow. So while she's not always on camera, she's our backbone. Carolina is here as well, who helps us on the Zoom side. So we have a team that stands behind us, but we couldn't do this without them. So I just want to thank them really personally. All right, we're going to see everybody next week. So everybody go be in peace.
Drink some water. Have a wonderful night. We love you.
And thanks
Thank
for everyone
you
who gave
so
me
much.
suggestions about the technology. I will do what I can and try to be conscious of being the same distance from the mic. God bless you all.
Thank you.